Hello everyone. So when I first heard about using World of Warcraft in the classroom, I thought, nah, that's not possible. And I moved on and it just could not connect in my brain. How could you possibly be able to use this in a class? And I've heard about it a couple of years now. I guess I've always had a love and hate relationship with of Warcraft because originally they had something called Warcraft. And it was a really, really good game, quite old now. And that's the basis for World of Warcraft. It used to be a strategy game with a really good story, and you'd solve, you basically conquer land, and you had your little guys that you had to put up to fight, and there was a really good story. When I went into World of Warcraft, as soon as it was released, I was really excited, and all I got was motion illness and lost in this huge area, and I felt like I had to walk so much to get anything done. And I just put it aside and never came back to it. But this is different. I downloaded the little startup, basically like a tryout version for it, and I found to be quite different. There isn't such a distance in between things that you have to do, and everything is quite close. And I didn't feel so much motion sickness. I didn't feel so sick moving around in the game as before. I don't know if they fixed something, if they improved the way that the mouse responds or what it is, but I was actually able to play it and it was pretty cool. Now, it's a game that one thing that I thought when I first heard about it's like, wow, how can you ever put this in school? Because there is so much that depends on other players and people are awful, so mean. But as it turns out, I put in, what's a good age for the kids to start, and there are, between 9 and 16, and most players say, well, you know what, if you manage to turn off the chat, which you can do, if you manage to turn off the team chat, the chat between other players, then it's okay. It's safe for a 9-year-old to play. The cool thing about it is that even though my computer is, I don't know, 2009, it's 8 years old. So my computer is 8 years old right now, and it still runs super smooth, which is awesome. So I know that the computers at school would probably be okay. Um, the minimum requirements that I found here were pretty low. Even Windows XP will run it. 2 cores, NVIDIA GeForce GT 440. I don't know exactly what that is, but it doesn't look too bad. And 2 gigabytes of RAM, so that's pretty good. And it is available for Windows and Mac, but most of our schools here are using Windows. So still, it didn't really connect to me. How could you possibly use this in school until I started this course? I found this great resource by Peggy Sheehy, and on her video she's so descriptive
In the humanities curriculum this year at Suffern Middle School.
with everything she's doing. She's in middle school too, right? And she's on grade 6. So I'm on grade 5 right now. The ages are very similar. We're, between my kids are all 10, some are 11. And she's using it with this age group, which is really cool. This is a really, really big resource, almost 300 pages that she has here. And I read all the way through Quest 7 or not 9, actually Quest 9. I read all the way through to here, and so far you can actually complete this using just a tryout version of World of Warcraft. But I know that the tryout version is not very comprehensive and it's missing quite a few things. So I did download the full version. There is the price for the full version is $19.95 per month, and now I don't know how that would work for schools. I could not find anything on educational pricing, but they do give you 1 month for $9.95 if you click buy now, that kind of thing. Buy now for only $9.95. So I did that. See, this is the upgrade today and get 50% off. Ta-da! I'm already upgraded. What are you doing? Get away from me. Shoo. So what I like about her setup is not only is the game itself, World of Warcraft, very set up really well with the learning principles of games. Um, so is her instructional manual. So it starts off really slow, you know, so you can basically your quests and your problems are sequential. So there's that principle of sequencing the difficulty level. It's totally here as well as in the game. And as well as a World of Warcraft has a big, like a kind of a sandbox idea in a way that you can explore different things and you can go and just walk around. Just basically walk around, get your feet under you, and be able to maybe test some things as you go, right? You can whack some animals, and if you manage to do that, then you can jump. You can just jump around, and you can move around. And you can learn the mechanics of the game pretty safely, especially on the beginning levels. I think the beginning levels work as a sandbox. So another thing that is also a good principle is the fact that the whole thing is very sequential. So, and the information is given only as you need. So, as well as in World of Warcraft. So whenever you need that information, then you get it. It's not like, this is how, I remember old games, they used to say, this is how I jump, this is how I do this, this is how I do that. So you had everything, and then you'd forget, what was that again? I don't remember anymore. But the way the World of Warcraft is built is that they give you one little piece when you need it, and then as you get really good at that, you move on to something else, and you move on to something else. So, and so it's a really good way to get the student to move through the levels without getting frustrated, and it's very gradual, the learning. Let me show you here how this thing works really quickly. I had a completely different memory of this, and I thought it was so bright and so beautiful and so everything, and then I decided to become a werewolf, and I was so surprised by how dark all of a sudden the game was. And I thought, this wasn't how I remember. This is very hard to see. But it actually depends on the character that you pick. So it's really important, I think, for a teacher to play this as a few characters and just see how things are and make sure that you understand how to get unstuck before you throw the students into it, because I had no idea. So we're finally here. This is my character. Now, this is a pretty boring character. So the cool thing is that you can create a new character very easily. So if you create something that is in a gloomy, horrible location, apparently you will be playing in a gloomy, horrible world. So it's basically a huge world with different areas. I remember I created a Tauren before, and it was pretty interesting playing with him. But again, I got seasick. So, okay, we'll go back to my human because it was so bright and I'm old and eyes don't work so well. So, we're going to go back and just enter the world. So this is what the game looks like. I'm going to kind of turn around, and my favorite thing about this game is really the storytelling aspect, because you can interact with people and get quests. And the way Peggy had set up her lesson plan, she had everything connected to The Hobbit. So you would go, one of her quests in Moodle, she set it up on Moodle. So one of her quests in Moodle would have a connection to something that the child had to do in either the game or reading one of the chapters for The Hobbit. And a lot of reflection, to a lot of self-reflections, like what makes a hero. When was some like in your own life, when was something that you have done that was kind of like a quest? And there's so many things, right? And the child starts thinking about it. Yeah, you know, for instance, I helped my mom pack when we moved, and that kind of thing. Those are all quests, right, that you do. So these quests are pretty small. Like one of them was evacuate 5 villagers. So it's just basically I had to knock on their door. That's it. So there are some small quests and some bigger ones. So right now my quest is to slay some spies, some Blackrock spies. So that's a spy right there. So I'm just gonna show this so that you get a sense of the violence of the game, how it looks like, right?
What can I do for you?
Oh, sorry, wrong guy. Carry on, sir.
Light be with you.
I am not. Oh, opa. These spies are very tricky. And I'm really bad at this. Come on! So that's pretty much it. So there isn't, the heads don't roll. It's not like Mortal Kombat that, woo, spines come off or anything like that. It's just very, actually quite non-graphic. And, still, I think that for my grade 5 class, it might be too much. I would have to really think about this. But she's using it with the same age. The gameplay is pretty easy. It's actually pretty good. You can jump, you can move forward or sideways, and you can actually just move just using your arrows. I don't know why I like to move using my mouse as well. I think it's because then I can look up and all that. It's pretty easy gameplay. So this is the manual that is attached to Peg's video, and it's by Lucas Gillespie and Craig Lawson. Super detailed, super nice. I love how it's set up, so easy to follow, and it really you could adapt this and use it to cover so much of the literary arts curriculum and even bring in some social studies, and it would be really amazing. So the way they did it was for the language arts curriculum, and it's a constant. A hero's journal, for instance, they write and reflect on their journals. They have to keep track of all the quests that they completed. There are online discussions on Moodle that they have to have with the fellow heroes. The challenges that they complete, they have to submit there. So it's all like tracking of all this stuff. And a cool thing about this setup is that it really is not all about playing World of Warcraft. It's about the quests as they pertain to the course. So orientation, for instance, is just the beginning, and they just talk about what's the importance of selecting a certain race and a certain profession, like a mage or a warrior or whatever. So, and it goes on, and the kid really gets into the game. And at the same time, some of those quests are to read a chapter of The Hobbit so that they understand the world that they are living in, so that they understand a fantasy world, let's say, right? And what a quest really means, because The Hobbit has quests as well. So it's really well done. I guess it's not just that the storytelling of World of Warcraft is intrinsically exciting, but it's the way that you attach it to other things. I mean, it makes a really good program to follow, I think. And I could adapt this to a grade 6 class and maybe even a grade 5. I would probably have to restrict the selected race, for instance, in the beginning, to only a couple, the brighter ones, the ones that have less attack all the time, because I found overwhelmed by the amount of werewolves that were attacking me when I was a werewolf. So that could be potentially, less annoying, especially for a person that doesn't have experience as a gamer. You wouldn't want to turn off half of your class, but I think that for a gamer, this method would be so attractive. In every quest that you complete, then you gain points, right? You get points on Moodle. And there's just so much really detail on these quests. Right from a certain perspective and this and that. It's just amazing. So I really enjoyed this. I looked into some blogs and information about what other teachers thought about World of Warcraft, and I found this one This teacher, he was introduced to this idea by a grade 6 science teacher that was using it with their students, and he used it with grade 8 life science class. And it was really interesting what he did, because he used it for them to categorize living things. Just go around the world that you don't know anything about and see if you can find different types of plants and animals. Just categorize like an explorer. That's really a smart way to do it as well, right? Loved it. So I guess to summarize, World of Warcraft would be great to use as one of the tools, as one of the components to maybe something set up on 3D game, which now actually changed names. They're called Bresley now. So maybe something like a course set up on Bresley that have the whole badges and achievements and points in there, and then set up those quests in there, and the game would be part of those quests. So for instance, one of the quests that Peg had set up, it was achieve 20 quests on World of Warcraft. So that's really interesting, right? It's not about one quest, it's about do 20 quests. How does it feel like? What quests were they? What is the storytelling? Why are you doing this? So I think that there's a lot in terms of language arts that gets covered with this, and in a very exciting way. And before I go, I just want to show a couple more things. One is this game here. Is called Spin and Spell. It's www.spinandspell.com. So my kids are really bad spellers, and I'm definitely going to be using this pretty soon with them, I think.
Escalator.
So for escalator, I will go E.
E.
S.
S.
So I'm going to put a T.
T.
Just to see what happens.
A. L. A. T. O. R.
So escalator. Let's see what happens when you submit it.
Sorry. Try again.
It's really nice. It's just a really nice little, you can click on whatever. Car. Sure.
C.
C-A-R.
A.
But there, it's really cute how
R.
you submit
Very
it,
good.
right? And I like this. Some of my kids, I think, would
Rocket.
have a tough time spelling
Bridge.
some of these, like bridge and rocket, for instance. So that could be nice. And besides this one, I found another one that I will be using. This is really cool. It's game.admongo.gov. The gameplay is not the best on it. It's quite difficult to control the little doll. Well, okay, to control the little doll is easy, but to make her jump and move at the same time, to jump forward is a little weird, a little leggy. Wahoo! So this game actually teaches you what an ad is. And I'll find an ad here. Woo! So this game it teaches you what are ads and how they work. So, I bet there's an ad here. So I'm going to click on spacebar, and it pops up an
This
explanation.
ad is inserted into the newspaper, so it's called an insert.
So some of them have extra things like
Exquisite.
what were they
Proceed to the next challenge.
what were they trying to sell to you, you know? Questions like were they trying to make you just ride the bus, or was the bus itself trying to make you ask your parents to go on a vacation somewhere? That kind of thing. So it starts getting kids to think critically about what's the function.
Like a magazine article, but it's actually a clever ad called an advertorial.
So that's really interesting. So here, bonus 500 points. If I click here, what do you think this is an ad for? A, lip gloss. B, headphones. C, both of the above. So I'm going to say both. Yeah. So some of them are really nice. One of the ads had the option of selecting between the three questions. One of them was is the ad trying to say that if you buy the clothes, you'll be more popular? And that was the correct answer. So I thought that was pretty clever. And all of them, so you go through different areas. So I'm on area 2 right now, level 1. I've already went through area 1, and every one of them was really interesting. So I think that this would be a winner for sure. And you can save the game, which I like. You can actually have your little account with, so I can actually use their Duolingo account password and name just so that we keep it all together. They will all log in and they will keep it saved, and we move forward from there to get a better sense of how advertisement targets people and young people as well. So that was a very good one. So yeah, so those two are two little like second and third place that I will be using right away, but World of Warcraft is definitely something that I want to explore in the future, and maybe make my own sequential thing, a focus for grade 5s if I get to teach it again next year. That would be awesome. So a little update on using a game such as World of Warcraft to assist in teaching the kids in my class. After doing some research, I found a game. I basically remembered a game that I played a long time ago. It would be more appropriate for this age level. It was called Horizons back then, and it's still around, and it's now called Istaria. So you can play as dragons, but that's not all. So besides the dragon, you can also play as 10 other races, and it is a free game up to level 12, and you can do quite a lot up to level 12. So it's also much calmer than World of Warcraft. I thought it was very benign. The only thing is that it's an older interface, and it's not as intuitive. You know, there is no arrow saying, come speak to this guy right now. You have to follow the directions and use the map quite a bit more. It's more of a puzzle game, I think, in a way. Idea-wise, it's the same. It's a big world. You explore, you do things, you kill things, and it's really nice. My favorite part, I think, is really playing as a dragon, though. So after I thought about how they had set up the whole course based on The Hobbit, so The Hobbit was kind of like an add-on reading that you would follow and respond questions. I thought that would be really nice if I could find something that would kind of match Istaria somehow. And I thought of this book that was written by, it was a young kid. He was 14. He was actually 10 when he started reading fiction. And at 14, he started doing the outline for his first book of the Aragon series. Was Christopher Paolini. And I thought it was really interesting. His parents self-published him, and it just gives a whole nice story to tell the kids about this kid that wanted to write so much that he did it all by himself, and his parents helped him. He became a big success, and his book got picked up to be a movie and everything. And that's really kind of exciting and inspiring. The writing is very simple, of course, because it was written by a child, but it's also very colorful, and it has enough description. It's really nice. And you can actually find it for free. I found it for free on this link down here, and the whole PDF of the first book. So I am thinking, I've already started writing a document with descriptions of the races and what is each one's health, what's the dexterity of each one, and what is their benefit. And I'm thinking that this is something that I'm going to pursue, just to give it a shot and try to make some sort of course that is literary arts based, as well as bringing a little bit of maybe entrepreneurship, and do something like that for my kids. Maybe not this year, but for an upcoming year. So I'm really excited. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it didn't go in too many areas. I know that I started with one focus and ended up getting lost in the fire hose of the internet. So as soon as I'm done with the project Hysteria, I'm going to add those resources down to the YouTube link area. Right now I have on the link area the games that I mentioned and any other resources that I found. They're all linked there. So thanks so much, and I hope you have a great day.